Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Welcome everyone to MMA Weekly of Austin and Chef Dan. I am Austin, my co-host Chef Dan. How you doing tonight, Chef Dan?
I am doing awesome, Austin, off of an interesting UFC event that just happened, but I'm very excited for the one that's coming up this week. I can't wait to get into that, but I'm doing great right now. How are you, Austin?
I'm doing solid. Yeah, last week was an interesting and bizarre fight pay-per-view, especially leading up to it. It's definitely gonna be one more memorable weeks and pay-per-views in recent memory. This past pay-per-view UFC 279, but I'm doing well, and I guess let's get right into the pay-per-view then. This pay-per-view was UFC 279. Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson. Originally, it was supposed to be Nate Diaz and Khamzat Chimaev, but obviously the Khamzat missed weight, and they had to switch the card, and the top three fights got changed, and we have again Nate Diaz and Tony Ferguson as our main event, and Nate Diaz wins that fight via submission, guillotine choke in the fourth round, 2 minutes and 52 seconds. Wait, no, 2 minutes 52 seconds, 2 minutes
51. Because they stopped it at 209 or 208. It was the area 209, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was remembering. Wait a minute, they stopped at 209. I remember everyone talking about that Nate Diaz from 209 Stockton. The fight stopped 209. That was kind of unique circumstance. But Nate Diaz wins that fight via guillotine choke against Tony Ferguson. Two iconic fighters from the UFC fighting for the first time ever. As Nate Diaz said, something should have happened a long time ago and happened. And if you're a Diaz fan, this was a fairy tale way for him in his UFC career, as Nate Diaz fought his last fight of his contract, as Nate Diaz is a free agent now, and Nate Diaz went out on a victory against a guy in Tony Ferguson who is a legend. And what are your thoughts on this fight, Dan, in general?
In general, like Nate said, I agreed 100%. You know, kind of roughly around the second and the third round, you kind of saw it where both of these guys, you wish that this happened earlier in their careers. You wish that this is something you could have seen, that this fight could have potentially have been a second, a round two, round two from the first one. But nevertheless, those two guys came in, and we saw the usual from both of these guys. Great striking from both of these guys. Tony threatening a lot of takedowns, but wasn't able to get it due to Nate Diaz's incredible wrestling defense, and he has a pedigree of wrestling on his own. But it was just it was a fight that kind of made you reminisce on some good times, and at the same time, it was an enjoyable fight.
It was very enjoyable. Nate Diaz won the early portions of this fight. I mean, he looked like the he looked like a more prepared fighter. Now, granted, Nate Diaz had more time to train for a fight versus Tony Ferguson, but Nate Diaz won especially the first 2 rounds, was really like picking apart Tony in the stand-up department, especially laying some very good shots at Tony, rocking him at times, and Tony Ferguson was having success in that with the leg kicks and some of the body shots, especially the leg kicks. Especially in that 3rd round, you can tell the leg kicks were bothering Nate Diaz. And if you ever want to, beat Nate Diaz, one of the best ways to do it is throw a lot of leg kicks, because they do not check leg kicks a lot. And if you throw hard leg kicks in the right spot, you can really neutralize the Diaz brothers. And Nate was reacting to it. I mean, I know Tony had the shin, like his shin got like cut up because Nate did check one, and like his shin, like part of his shin popped, and there was blood coming out, and Tony was still able to continue. But that reminded us how tough Tony is, because Tony's one of the more tougher fighters around, especially he kept throwing the leg kick with with the shin bleeding and stuff. Look, you want to say something, Dan?
No, I was saying that Nate was able to check at least one leg kick early on, and that kind of shifted the way Tony wanted to throw those leg kicks, because I'm not gonna lie, throughout the fight Nate was checking some of the leg kicks that Tony was throwing. It was only later on that he kind of just stopped with the defense, because he was just piecing together Tony so much. He had just so much success in the stand-up game that it was it was crazy. But at the same time, you kind of watching him have that much success in the stand-up game, it kind of makes you wish that you saw a younger Tony Ferguson, because what Tony would have been able to do was get more creative. But at the same time, I don't know, because no matter how creative Tony got, he was already very creative in the striking department. It didn't matter. I think just sound technique is going to beat the creativity any day of the week.
Right, that's a good point to mention about the creativity versus sound technique. Tony was known to be very unorthodox and very creative techniques, and Nate was sticking to the fundamentals and was helping him out. And Tony Ferguson, one thing that was disappointing, both guys at times you could tell they were older fighters, and they at times didn't exactly have the best moments with the two of them. Especially Tony, considering I'm surprised Tony didn't throw elbows. That was surprising to see, considering that's what he's known for. I thought that would be a huge advantage, fighting against Nate Diaz, who cuts up easily.
I mean, he threatened the elbows in the first round, and he tried throwing a couple of them. It's just that Nate was really, really good at getting in and out of the space.
I don't recall him trying to throw that many. Really?
No, earlier, like in the first round, he had teased throwing a couple of elbows at Nate when they would just, they were rocking each other, but at the same time, he was like threatening the elbows, and Nate was staying out of the way. It was just it's a combination of Nate being able to stay in range enough to strike and dip out, but also Tony did not do himself any favors, because he reacted to every single shot that Nate was throwing.
Right, and do you think that the fact that Tony's last fight was that knockout loss to Chandler back in May, which was 4 months ago, do you think that kind of affected him in terms of it's like his approach? Because some people felt that way, or not really? I
don't think I really, because between Michael Chandler and Nate Diaz, those are two different styles of fight. Michael Chandler's, he has power, but he'll explode into range, and he also threatens takedowns a lot. Versus Nate, he's really not going to threaten the takedown until he feels that he's got you in a compromising position to where he can either, get on top to ground and pound, or get a, submission, which we saw that he did later on in the rounds. So those are two different styles of fights that you're seeing right there. You can't really say that he prepared the same way for both of those guys, and that, that approach from the Michael Chandler fight changed it. Because not only that, I know the kick from Chandler it's something you wouldn't see like that from Chandler, but at the same time, he's known to threaten a leg kick. He's known to threaten a kick up the middle, because he's a short fighter. Versus Nate, he's not going to threaten the kick up the middle. So that's not really a threat that you have to, even look for. That's not even something that I feel Nate is going to try to do. You see Nate's style. He's really going to be gruff and in your face. So that's the style that I thought that Tony should have been more prepared for. If anything, what I think everyone should be mad at is that Tony didn't try to invoke more clinches. He didn't clinch earlier in the round, and then from there you throw the elbows, mix in a couple of strikes. From the clinch, you could be creative and even make it a little dirty. And then from there, that's when we see Tony Ferguson beat Tony Ferguson. And he did that against a guy in Anthony Pettis. That was the last time that we saw Tony Ferguson do something like that. So I was looking forward to seeing Tony. Like, if Tony was younger, that would have been the Tony that we saw against Nate Diaz. But we didn't see any of that. So we just had to settle for what we got, and it was still an entertaining fight.
Right, but that's what I meant by like Tony Ferguson not throwing more elbows, like not initiating the clinch to where he can throw more elbows. That's where we're kind of disappointed Tony not doing that, considering elbows are one of his greatest strengths. Is that, and but no, what I meant by the Ferguson knockouts, that his approach to the fight was different, considering he just got knocked out. And sometimes you get knocked out the first fight back, you change your style or you're more hesitant. I know Nate Diaz is not a power puncher, but sometimes it might cause you to you're so worried about getting knocked out, considering you just got knocked out recently. And that was the first time Ferguson ever been knocked out.
I agree to some extent. It's just that Tony's style of fight can't change. It has to be aggressive. I just think, as much as he had a great showing against Chandler, I'm not going to say it. Never mind.
All right, plus I'm surprised that, I know Nate Diaz is a good jiu-jitsu guy, but I'm surprised that Tony Ferguson just got submitted. Like, I don't want to say super easy, but it was like not the hardest submission for Nate Diaz to get. Especially since Tony's a black belt and he's got good jiu-jitsu practitioner. That was actually kind of easy for Nate Diaz to get that guillotine. Like, Tony Ferguson, for some odd reason, just put himself in that position to get a guillotine.
Yeah, but I mean, as he took 4 rounds of a beating, man. It's not to say it was a lopsided beating, but at the same time, like, Tony was diverse with his strikes, but you saw it like roughly at the fourth, like roughly around the time when just before he got taken down and suffered the ground and pound, he had taken like 51 strikes to the head. It's at that point that I don't think his body had much more to fight left. Like, he knew he was done.
Yeah, I guess, but also, I feel like Tony should capitalize when Nate Diaz. Remember when Nate Diaz took those breaks where he just like hang on the cage or just like on his knees, like, or especially after he got a leg kick, he started running away, like jogging back to like the octagon. I feel like those moments, I feel like Tony should capitalize on Nate Diaz when Nate Diaz was basically trying to catch a break or just like playing around. Like, I think those are moments where Tony could really call Nate Diaz, and that's something I'm pretty sure he's kicking himself for. I know Tony. Go ahead.
Now I'm saying I agree with you.
And I know Tony Ferguson kind of played along. Like, he did the Nick Diaz, like, lay down like this. Like, when Nick Diaz fought Anderson Silva, if you remember the first round, Nick Diaz, like, did that. Kind of did that in Nate Diaz as Nate was starting, like, play around a little bit. He did it as well. But if Tony could capitalize on that, the fight could change. And who knows if Tony Ferguson is the winner of this fight. That part was kind of disappointing to see. But this was a good fight. It was entertaining. Very, entertaining fight. It wasn't boring. It was just, just was a unique fight, to say the least. Two guys who've been in the UFC for a long time. And one guy, is the end of his UFC run, not his fighting career, because he mentioned basically going to other sports, aka boxing, possibly boxing Jake Paul, potentially. It depends what happens with Jake Paul and Anderson Silva next month. But he also talked about, hey guys, other promotions, think they're the best, prove it. So who knows when Nate Diaz is gonna fight again? We don't know. It's probably gonna be boxing next, potentially. Maybe it's another MMA organization. and then or I don't know if the UFC still wants it. I'm pretty sure they do, but maybe they don't. Maybe he's asking prices too much. I mean, there's a lot of things. Like, we don't know what's next for Nate Diaz. A lot of mystery with it, and that kind of makes it something to keep your eyes out for, see what's next for Nate Diaz.
Most definitely. But with that being said, is there anything else you want to say in regards to this fight?
What was No, all I say is that I think we're closer to seeing the end of Tony Ferguson's career. I think we're close. I don't know if this was. I don't know if it's gonna be his last fight or his next one's gonna be, but I think we're very close to the end of Tony Ferguson's career.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that statement. I agree 100%, and hopefully he can, find a way to go out on top the way Nate Diaz did. But with that being said, we can move on from that fight to the next fight. This one ended fairly quickly in the first round. Khamzat Chimaev versus Kevin Holland in the first round. Khamzat Chimaev, wins this fight via Darce choke. And Kevin tried his best. He showed some really good takedown defense, but it was against a guy in Khamzat who immediately got the jump on him in the takedown. When he got was a single leg or double leg?
I think it was a double leg.
Yeah, double leg, immediately got him down. Kevin showed a lot of fight, a lot of discipline in trying to get out of situations. He even had some opportunities to try and get back to some striking opportunities, but Khamzat was able to hang on, hold on, make it a wrestling match, and win the fight via Darce choke. I'll let you go. I'll let you give your analysis on the fight, but I have some things to say about what was said outside of the fight. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, I'll go first. Well, Khamzat Chimaev, I mean, a very dominant performance by Khamzat Chimaev. I believe that was his fourth fight in the UFC where he didn't take a single punch or a strike, which is, pretty remarkable considering the guy's had about six UFC fights, and yet 4 of them he hasn't been touched. That doesn't happen often, really doesn't. I mean, Khabib has probably touched more than Khamzat in his first 6 UFC fights. Let's just be honest. And Khabib just was able to grapple dudes. But yeah, Khamzat had a great performance. Kevin Holland showcased some of his good jiu-jitsu skills, considering he's a black belt. I forgot who he got his black belt from, but it's like a legit, good jiu-jitsu trainer. I forget his name, but yeah, Holland showcased it with scrambles and stuff, and he was flying up to submission, but there's only so much you can do before Khamzat was able to submit him, basically. There's only so much he could do and withstand before he got submitted. And it was a great performance from Khamzat. Khamzat went in there quickly, took him down, was able to, gate some of the scrambles Kevin Holland did, keep in touch, keep hold of him, and take him down, and just submit him. Great performance by Khamzat, and Khamzat, really playing up the heel role like in pro wrestling, playing up the bad guy role and just embracing it. And the crowd was definitely not on Khamzat's side. He definitely got booed more than anybody in the crowd that night. And Khamzat just played it up, didn't bother him too much. And this was, very good performance by Khamzat Chimaev. But I want to hear your thoughts on this, Dan. I know you said you have things to say.
Yeah, just before that, just in regards to the fight, some people on Twitter, and also one of the UFC fighters, I forget who it was, but they were making a bug about it. I just wanted to know what was your take on it. When Holland initiated, tried to step out, to fight, they were making they were making a stink about how Holland put his hand up to try and get a dap up before the fight, and that how Khamzat just immediately shot, and a lot of people didn't like that. Did you see that? Did you think that was,
I was surprised he did it because they just dapped, like when the referee did instructions, fight, clean fight, etc. Touch gloves you want. They actually touched gloves, which was surprising because those guys, had bad blood going into the fight the whole week before. I mean, obviously the whole thing of the press conference got canceled, happened with those two. I was surprised they did that, so I was kind of surprised that Holland, was trying to get another dab, from Khamzat like this. I was like, I don't know why he was trying that, considering he already touched gloves with him. And I guess there were some fights feel that way, but at the same time, I don't blame Khamzat because we already touched gloves. Why would he touch it again? is a fight. You gotta be prepared. So part of me is like, I think Holland should have known better and not done that. I kind of put a little bit of the blame, more of the blame on Holland than I do Khamzat for that, personally.
Okay. All right. That's another discussion for another day. So after the fight, after the fight, Joe Rogan has the interview with Khamzat. Khamzat is, explicitly saying he doesn't care about not making weight. But Joe and a lot of people I credit Joe Rogan for this. This was something he made sure to emphasize, is that if you want to be the champion of whatever division you're fighting in, whether that be, he's fighting in both middleweight and welterweight, I believe, right?
Yes.
Whichever, if you want to be champion both of them, right? Or champion either of them, when it comes time to making these championship bouts, if you don't make weight, you don't get the title. That's it.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And he's, saying he doesn't care, this, that, whatever. So it is what it is. Like, that night we're all hearing that it's a doctor's issue. The doctor's telling him that, he can't cut any more weight. That's it, right? So everyone leaves it alone. And then some news comes out that it wasn't his doctor that said not to cut any more weight. It was his trainer. That makes a difference.
His trainer? Oh, his trainer? Oh, I did not know about that.
If your doctor doesn't tell you to stop cutting weight, and you agreed on this weight, and your trainer says you can't make that weight, then you were irresponsible in your contract negotiations. And not only that, you're not a middleweight.
You mean welterweight?
I mean, I don't know, whatever. He's not a welterweight. He's a middleweight. You're a middleweight. That's it. Like, that's it. You're not... Cut the crap. Because if it wasn't your doctor and it was your trainer, that's totally different. That doesn't mean you medically couldn't make it. That means someone else that sees you, that was comfortable, that sees you at your best, says, man, when you cut down to this weight, you got nothing. Cut the crap. It's a bad look. For all intents and purposes, you should have, like, whoever leaked out that it was your trainer and not your doctor, you got bad people in your circle. I don't know, whatever it is, but someone should have shut their mouth. It's a bad look. And it's not about, you being a gangster, this, that, whatever. You can't do business. You clearly don't know how to do business as a fighter. For you to not know your own body? And it doesn't matter, regardless of whatever sport it is. Austin, I know you can agree with this statement. Whether it be baseball, basketball, football, whatever sport you play in as a professional, the business isn't the sport. The business is your body. Because for however long you can do that sport at your best is however long you can get paid at your best.
Yeah, true.
So it made a complete difference from his doctor to his, and I think, even now that the news comes out, regardless of whether it's your trainer or your doctor, you're not a welterweight. I don't want to see you competing at welterweight. It's a lie. Don't do it. Stop claiming it. It's a false claim. Because you can't make the weight. You had a couple of fights, yeah, this, that, whatever. But so far after COVID, and it's not of your fault. It's not like you intentionally got COVID. But after COVID, it seems that you just can't make the weight. Not your fault. Just say.
Well, that's not true. He fought the Leech and Gilbert Burns at 170.
But currently if you remember, even coming up to those fights, there was a whole lot of news about him struggling to make the weight. You can't make the weight. If anything, now I suspect whether he's a weight bully or not at a welterweight. Because I'd have to ask, like, especially with him not being able to make the weight with this fight, when, like, the night of, when he fought Leach and GM3, I wonder what he really weighed in at that night.
Well, GM3 was middleweight. He was middleweight against...
He was middleweight, okay, but Leach, I want to find out what weight he was at that night.
Or Gilbert Burns.
Gilbert Burns, what weight were you at that night? That sounds like a real weight bully to me. And he was extra gassed at the Gilbert Burns fight. It was a fire fight, but only because Gilbert obliged with striking with him. He was super gassed. It just doesn't make any business sense.
So basically for you want to see Khamzat next at 185. Basically,
like,
go.
It just doesn't make any sense to try and, like, I know he's top 5 in welterweight. He had a good fight with Gilbert. But it's like, I'm not even gonna lie, the fight with the fight that was supposed to happen that everyone wanted with Colby Covington, this makes it all the more interesting. Because if you go 5 rounds with Colby Covington and you can't get a hold of him, you're fucked. Because I know you don't have the gas tank. You couldn't go 3 with Gilbert. Gilbert won that 3rd round.
I mean, yeah, if you're having trouble with 3 rounds with Gilbert going into Colby Covington, he's known for his cardio, it's going to be a problem, especially if he gets that 3rd, 4th, and 5th round.
And bro, I really don't like Colby Covington. I really don't. I'm not a fan of him. But if there's one thing I know he's going to do, is push it to the 4th and the 5th round. And I know you ain't got the tank for it. You don't have the tank for full 5 rounds. And I know, look, Kamara just got knocked out via a head kick through Leon. I knew it was a head kick, but I was going to say something else. A kick thrown out of desperation. Because he was losing badly. But Kamara will push you 5 rounds. Leon will push you 5 rounds. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to lie. You know who's really licking their chops at Khamzat right now? Bilal Muhammad.
Nah, he ain't beating Khamzat.
Bro, it's not that he's not beating Khamzat, right? But I'll tell you like this. If Bilal could defend a couple of takedowns, if Bilal could defend a couple of submission attempts and push it to the 3rd, and push it past the 3rd round, because Bilal versus Khamzat is going to be 5 rounds. I'm not putting that as no undercard for no 3 rounds. I don't want to see Bilal against Khamzat for 3 rounds. That's for 5 rounds. We're now pushing him for 5 rounds.
I'm trying. I mean, I think, but
dude,
to me,
I know it sounds bizarre to you, but Bilal is someone he's not excellent at striking and excellent at submission attempts and excellent this, that, whatever, but he's solid all the way around. And sometimes a guy like that against someone who feels that they're expert one way, but you can see the chinks in their armor, man, Bilal is skilled enough that he can make a game plan. We saw what he did with Vicente Luque.
Yeah, it's true.
That was 5 rounds on the back pedal, like saying, I know what he can do, so here's the plan for this. I know I'm going to be on the back pedal anyways. I know I'm going to this, that, whatever. I know how to game plan against this guy. For all the crap we give Bilal about, being not a finisher and not being an exciting fighter, so far when facing top competition, one thing I can tell you is he is a very smart fighter. And if the only thing he wants to do to give himself a chance to win is just make it past the third round, if all he's trying to do is make it past the third round, and then after that, it's whatever, I think he's smart enough to do that. And there's been guys that have been, far outmatched in other ways that we thought couldn't do what they could do. And I'll give you one perfect example that we thought wasn't going to be able to get the job done. Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah, against Pyongyang. Yeah, but there was a clear. Yeah, but there was a hole in. Oh, my bad. My chair just went down. Oh,
no, you good. But there was. What were you gonna say about?
There was a clear hole in jiu-jitsu of Pyongyang. And Aljamain was able to exploit that. He defended well, but he was able to get the back.
No, but he was able to exploit that early, not later on in the fight, because he noticed the real chink in Peter Yan's armor is that he has to make adjustments. That's why everyone tries to blitz him early in the rounds. It's like, we don't want you making adjustments later on. We're not trying to drag this fight later. It's just that Aljamain flipped the standard of the strategy against Peter Yan now. Now what you're doing is, if he's going to make adjustments, try to dominate those 3 rounds. You don't even have to try and go for the KO. But if you can dominate the early rounds and keep making him make adjustments, it doesn't matter if he wins the 4th and the 5th round. We're playing a game of numbers at this point.
Yeah, but I just don't think Bilal could do that, or most of these guys are welterweight, because Khamzat's got good striking too, and don't forget that, great wrestling and striking as well.
He has good striking, but his striking hasn't been. His striking was tested with Gilbert. His striking isn't all the way perfect.
It's not, but he has the ability to knock guys down. I mean, Gilbert got knocked down 3 or 4 times, and a lot of guys don't got that chin Gilbert got. Let's just be honest.
I understand that, but doesn't Vicente Luque have that same power to knock a guy down?
Yeah, he does. But he doesn't have the wrestling that Khamzat has, and you saw against Bilal, and even I think Jeff Neal took him down in his last fight.
It's not beyond the realm of Bilal making a plan and a strategy and being able to beat this guy, because Bilal is a contender. I know he is far-fetched, and the odds, if it went to Vegas, I know that Khamzat would be a heavy favorite. But I wouldn't just say Bilal is totally out of the fight. I wouldn't say he has no chance against Khamzat Chimaev.
Got a slim chance, but I don't think he's got a great chance. Same with Sean Brady.
Here's the thing, and that's why I'm going to keep harkening back to Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling, or even Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes. Slim chance ain't no chance.
Yeah, it's true, but
you can't say but. It's slim chance ain't no chance. You got a guy, he has a chink in his armor. You just have to find a way to exploit it. I know you're saying Bilal may not have the tools, but if the fight happens and he shows that he has the tools, we're only saying he doesn't have the tools because he hasn't fought this guy yet. That's really it.
Yeah, but I haven't seen anything from Bilal to suggest that, or a guy like a Sean Brady, or even, maybe Ron Rakhmonov probably could. Shakhar Rakhmonov, excuse me, I have a hard time with his name, probably could, but I don't think those guys, Brady or Bilal could. Kobe probably could. Kamaru, I think, definitely could. Leon, I think, he's never, yes, but I don't think those other guys are. But
it hasn't happened yet.
Middleweight. So you definitely like to see him go up to middleweight, correct?
Yeah, that's it. Just go up to middleweight.
Do you want to see him and Paulo fight?
That'd be interesting.
Because remember, last Monday they got an altercation, like the PI.
And Paulo's coming off of a great victory against
Rockhold.
Luke Rockhold. Yeah.
Also, Paulo even stole Khamzat's hat and showcased it on like the Schmoes podcast. And plus, there is like beef with those two. And then Paulo say he liked to fight him, but he thinks Khamzat's scared. And I was after the performance Khamzat had against Kevin Holland, I actually wanted to see the next fight be Khamzat and Paulo, because I think that would be a fun fight, entertaining fight. And also, I think Khamzat probably win, but I think Paulo has a shot to beat Khamzat personally. He's got a decent shot. I think Khamzat should be the favorite. But then it's a good matchup, especially since Khamzat has got both belts. If you beat the former title challenger and Paulo Costa and beat him, you definitely have a great case in the middleweight division, because let's be honest, if Israel beats Alex Pereira, it's not many guys left for Israel to fight, unless Sean Strickland has a great performance. So we'll talk a little bit about Strickland towards the end of the show. There's some big news involving him. Khamzat could probably skip the line and probably fight for that middleweight title if he beats Paulo. Yep.
I agree with you. It's just the last thing I want to say on this fight between Khamzat and Kevin Holland is that there's a video clip going around in MMA Twitter that it was very popular after this fight. And that was Izzy, I think after the after the Paulo Costa fight, when he was talking to Dana and he was saying about these guys not making weight, and it shouldn't be 20%. Take half the purse. I know people talk about fighter pay or this, that, whatever. I understand that the life is difficult, but you gotta if truly you're dedicating your life to the art of fighting and you're being a professional fighter, not only that, you know that if you get on a hot streak, if you take care of your body and get on a hot streak, you can get life-changing money. And you don't even have to be a champion. You can make enough that you're a hot enough commodity. You can get some pay-per-view points. People will want to see you, and boom, you're making a lot of money. You got to take care of your body.
Right, and I had a good. Oh yeah, I was surprised in the press conference, the post-fight press conference. Dan White wasn't super critical of Khamzat. Usually, when guys miss weight, especially in big profile fights, where it be main event, co-main events, Dana was very critical of guys, even if he likes them. But he wasn't as much as Khamzat, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, that's that Dana White privilege.
Yeah, but there's some guys he's liked. He's been critical of when he missed weight. But yeah,
Khamzat has some Dana White privilege.
That makes sense, considering Tony Ferguson was on this card. He popularized that. That's a good reference, Dan. Great reference. Mm-hmm. We can move on to, speaking of controversy, let's talk about the next fight, because this is controversial in a different way. Daniel Rodriguez against Li Jingliang, the Leech. As Daniel Rodriguez wins, he gets 29-28. Two judges.
Look. Let's cut it. Let's cut.
I agree. Leech won.
We both Leech won. Look, this is one of those things where every time, after both of these fighters, after what happened that night, if anytime they reference that fight on TV, I'm just going to out loud say, Leech won. Where Daniel Rodriguez is fighting and he's off of a win from Leech. Nope, it was a loss. To me, Leech won the fight. I don't care. Leech won. I'm not going through the diagnosis of the fight. If you want to, Austin, you can. Leech won the fight. He was better, especially better in the second and the third round completely. There's a case you can make that he won all three rounds, man.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Even though Daniel Rodriguez was popping him a little earlier in the first round, Leech never reacted to a point to where it was, painful to him. He kept walking through the strikes. So I don't care about the numbers you amount. If you're not laying damage, and damage is the first criteria. We have the picture, ladies and gentlemen, so we know what's supposed to be judged on. If damage is not the first, if damage ain't being done, then I could care less about anything else, man. Leech won.
Totally agree. Leach won, and it's a damn shame he got robbed because the guy got screwed robbed. Worse. The guy got screwed worse was the Leach. He got robbed. Maybe the judges. I mean, plus he didn't get to wear the suit he brought over for the press conference. His biggest press conference of his career. Then the opponent changed, finding guys 10 pounds over. Dan Rodriguez, and then he gets screwed by the judges. The damn judges screw him big time, which is the worst part of it. Those damn judges. It's like, yeah, it's hard not to feel bad for the Leach. I mean, yesterday he was on Errol Hawani's show, and he wore a shirt that just said "robbed" in red. White shirt with the word "rob" across the center of the shirt in red. Which hey, he's right. He was robbed. It was a terrible decision by the judges. I mean, this Calvin Kattar and Josh Emmett. There's another big one that was a bad judging decision. I remember there was a prelim one, and there was a prelim in like the Diamond Cruz Chiovera fight. And then, and then
Arlovsky versus was it Collier?
No, but that's a bad one. Yeah, that was a bad one, but that was not the one I'm talking about. It was the Diamond Cruz Chiovera prelim, and then of course Romanov and Tybura, which is definitely a bad one.
Yeah,
that should have been a draw on Tybura and Romanov in UFC 278.
There's been some egregious judging calls, but yeah, that was egregious.
Yeah, man, this is as bad as Calvin and Josh Emmett. Now, that more because if Calvin was worded the fight correctly, he would have gotten a title fight. We've been talking about him and Volkanovski. You wouldn't hear me campaign for Volk to go 155. You wouldn't be hearing me saying that if the judges got that fight right. Especially that one judge who get the fourth round of Emmett. I'll talk. That's another video for another day down the road. That BS. But this is also bullshit. The Leach. The Leach landed like the better shots. Yeah, Dan Rodriguez threw a lot of jabs, but they weren't affecting the Leach. He just walked through it. But in that third round, especially, like they were like touching it like this, and like the Leach was just like dodging, like moving his head where the jab didn't have effect. I know some people might say look at the numbers, but look at Rob Font and Chiovera. Rob Font outlanded Chiovera by a line. And yeah, we all agree Chio won. He beat the crap out of freaking Rob Font in that fight, and Font outlanded him, especially in the first 3 rounds. So the numbers can be misleading, and the damaging shots were definitely the Leach. Leach landed better leg kicks, some body shots, especially in that first round, even the third round. And also, even the second round was close, but the Leach did get a good takedown. I think even might have dropped Rodriguez or rocked him, and it's like, I don't know how you watch that and think the Rodriguez won. I mean, the one judge who got it right is Ron McCartney, John McCartney's son. Gotta give him a shout out for getting that one correctly. He's the one that got it correct. I think he also got the Romanov and Tybura card correctly, in my opinion. I think he was the one who gave it a draw, rightfully so. I believe if that's the case, then Ron McCartney's showcasing why he's a good judge. Hopefully that's the case. But, he got this one correct. And that the judges screwed the Leach. No way. Rodriguez did not win that fight. Leach looked at the better fighter. It sucks that he's probably going to lose his rankings when he doesn't deserve it because he clearly won. And he should be rewarded as the winner. He should get a top 10 guy. Maybe a Luke or somebody in top 10.
I really don't think he should have lost. Here's the other part, too. I don't think he should have lost any ranking because he fought a guy 10 pounds over. He didn't fight a guy that was a welterweight. He did. Right. This was a catchweight battle.
Yeah, you're right. Totally agree. He shouldn't lose a ranking at all. It was catchweight. He should stay at number 14. And like I say, he should still get a top 10 opponent, considering we all agree he won. I think most people agree he won. And to me, he should be treated like a winner, given a top 10 guy, whoever is in the top 10 or top 11.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Nah, go ahead.
The way these judge decisions go, we're probably going to do the end of the year top 5 worst judging decisions because we got a decent amount of them. So, we got a decent amount. We just mentioned more than usual, it seems like, this year. I mean, bad judging is just the worst thing in the sports. Bad judging ruins everything. That's why I always love Teddy Atlas. I know he does boxing, even though he's been covering UFC a lot recently, to be fair to him. But, have you ever seen that famous clip of him ranting about boxing judges and how the damage they do to fighters? It applies to mixed martial arts as well as boxing. It's one of the greatest videos, probably the greatest video Teddy Atlas has ever done or anything associated with him. It was after a fight night where a boxer got screwed, and I'll put a link to it in the description, in the comments afterwards. Watch it, because when I heard that, it definitely made me hate bad judging more. If these guys, they hurt fighters careers who put all out there, and these guys take it away from them, and it's such a BS bullshit thing. It's really terrible.
It's I just want to I don't even want to talk about this anymore. This is terrible. This is nasty.
Okay,
because like Leach got fucked all the way around, and they didn't take him out to dinner. They didn't even like buy him a bottle of wine. Didn't kiss him on his mouth. Didn't tuck him in. They just straight fucked him.
Exactly. Terrible, man. Terrible. We can move on to something that was a first. There was something historic in this card, actually, between Irene Aldana and Macy Chiasson in the women's bantamweight division. Irene Aldana wins via third round KO by a liver kick. Not just any liver kick. Okay, so let me set it up if you guys don't know, which I think most of you should know, but some of you probably don't. What happened was Macy Chiasson had took Irene Aldana down, but Irene Aldana was able to get Chiasson off of her. As she got Chiasson off of her, Irene Aldana does a kick from off her back, and happens to land at the liver of Macy and hits her stomach, and Macy just falls down and in pain, like, just can't go on.
Right here.
Yes, right there in liver, like near the sides, but the stomach, and Chiasson goes down. And first, the commentators and a lot of the fans didn't know what happened, didn't know what was up. Some thought maybe she might tore her knee or something, but we watched in replay. But the referee, I believe it was Jason Herzog, recognized that it was a liver kick, basically. And once the replay, you can see it was definitely a liver kick, which I think Vegas does have, or state of Nevada technically it does have. Well, not technically, but state of Nevada, they do instant replay. So I'm pretty sure if Herzog wasn't aware, I'm pretty sure instant replay was able to use to determine what happened. Because unfortunately, by the time like when she threw it, and from like my feed, the pay-per-view cut out, so it wasn't until afterwards, and then I saw what happened. So I don't know if he used it or not to determine, or he knew it in the spots. But go ahead.
He didn't know. I missed the fight because I was on the train traveling elsewhere, so I didn't have any internet connection. I missed the first two fights of this pay-per-view card, so I missed some really good fights, and I know I did. But I caught like bits and pieces of highlights on Twitter, and apparently basically what happened is the ref goes over, checks on her, he waves his hands. They go to check the replay and everything. Macy's able to get up on her, after they help her up and everything. She's able to walk around of her own power, and they show him the replay so he's able to call it.
Okay, that's what happened. Because I said my pay-per-view cut out from the point where Irene Aldana do the up kick to when the referees has both ladies, and Bruce Buffer does his announcement, basically that from like the up kick to right about there. I don't know why my feet cut off, but anyway. Yeah, Irene Aldana wins, being the first person in UFC history to win with an up kick, liver kick, and it was a good victory because she won the first round. Irene Aldana, she looked great. I mean, the boxing was crisp. I mean, she reversed the takedown that Macy threw at her, got like an arm bar, which that was tight. That arm bar she had Macy on, it looked like Macy's arms about to dislocate, kind of like Miesha Tate arm did against Ronda Rousey in their first fight in Strikeforce back in the day. And it looked like Macy might have tapped. It looked like she did, because when they were like transitioning, like Irene and her, like not transitioning, like moving the body around, it looked like she did like a little tap that the referee missed. I know some people were saying that Macy tapped, that the ref should have called it off, but it was iffy. But I get why some people thought Macy tapped, and also Irene went for a go-go, I think a omoplata at one point in that first round. She had a great first round. Early in the second round, she was doing well, got submission attempts after Macy tried to take her down, but Macy's able to reverse and do well and get top position and control Irene for most of that second round, winning that round. Threw some shots, but a lot of them they were getting blocked. Irene was blocking a lot of Macy's shots, so Royce wasn't affecting her. And then, of course, the third round, of course, a takedown, and then, of course, the liver kick. And Irene Aldana gets a great victory. It's an impressive victory, a memorable victory for her, especially on this card, where her and Macy were not the focal point, because especially after what happened Friday with all the top three fights getting changed, She definitely made a name for herself, and you can argue that she's right there for a title fight, considering she's won, I believe, 4 of her last 5, if not, I think, or 5 of her last 6. I know she lost to Holly Holm, but she's won 2 in a row since that loss to Holly Holm, and you can argue her. Now, Amanda Nunes is very serious about her fighting for the 145 title, which I don't know why, but okay. You could do Irene Aldana versus Juliana Pena, winner fights Amanda, a title eliminator. If Amanda is that set, UFC does give her a 145 title fight.
Nah. Sorry, bro.
What?
I gotta disagree with that.
Well, the Pena and her eliminated?
Nah, Pena and her for the you said for the featherweight or bantamweight?
No, I said for a title eliminator, the winner fights Amanda.
No, but I think both of this fight was a catchweight as well. There's a lot of catchweight fights on this card. A lot of people did not.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Good point.
So, because I remember hearing like when they would when I remember when I was hearing some of the clips for this fight. DC was talking about how this fight is essentially at featherweight, so but Irene Aldana could potentially fight Irene Aldana could potentially fight Amanda for the featherweight title. So I'm like, if that's the title you're talking about, if anything, man, the real title eliminator for that featherweight title, even though there's really not a division, but the division is kind of moving around, should be her versus Raquel Pennington.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Wait, Raquel 145 now? I thought she was 130. I know she fought at 145 her last fight, but yeah. I know she officially moved up.
Yeah, but it's not that she officially, I remember after the fight, she was like, if she could make the weight, she'll fight at that, but then after that, she wants to fight at bantamweight as well. I'm not gonna lie, it's either her. Is Caitlin Vieira still in the division?
Yeah, she is. She should be.
Yeah.
She's I know she. 2. That's right. Irene Aldana did knock her out back in 2019, so you could do a rematch with Caitlin Vieira and Irene Aldana, especially considering Irene took a victory.
I don't think a lot of people agreed with that victory. Caitlin Vieira against Holly Holm.
Gosh, yeah, which I thought was the right call personally, but yeah, you're right. It was controversy with that fight.
It was controversial. That fight was controversial. So, if anything, we can have Aldana versus Vieira too.
Yeah, maybe a title eliminator, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, you can go over. I mean, that's good. But also, I do like the Pena and like Irene title eliminator, but
yep.
I mean, title eliminator.
I would do it. I would do that, and then I would do Vieira and Pennington.
Yes, because Pennington actually went back to 135.
And not only that,
go ahead.
But not only that, Pennington's style is closer to Amanda's style, so that would be an awesome matchup against against Vieira to see, just a sampler.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that makes sense. Vieira and Pennington, and then Pena and Irene Aldana. Yeah, I think that's a good one. I could see with that one. Also, I forgot Pennington has a victory over Irene Aldana back in the day, decision victory. It was a split one back in 2019, so it was a close fight. It wasn't exactly she dominated her. So maybe you can do the rematch there. By the way, I think Irene just needs one more victory, and I think she can get the Amanda fight. Personally, because she's been doing well. She's improved. I mean, she showcased her grappling. You don't expect that from a Mexican. Let's be honest. We think of Mexican fighters, think of their stand-up. You don't think of their grappling. Let's just be honest.
And that's why Brandon Moreno was able to catch Figueiredo off guard and capture the title.
Right, exactly. And Irene's definitely showcasing her improvement in grappling skills. And Mexico's been recently the Mexican wave, no pun intended, if you know what I'm talking about, the wave, but that Mexican wave is MMA's here. I mean, for UFC's been trying in the Mexico market, and they got great Mexican fighters. You got Brandon Moreno, Irene Aldana is close to fighting for a title, women's 135. Alexa Grasso's, she's actually main eventing in a couple weeks, and is a rising contender 125. You got Yair Rodriguez, and you got there's probably, I feel like there's another Mexican fighter that's on the come up that I'm probably overlooking for Mexico. But Mexico's finally got talent now. I mean, it's crazy how Mexico is starting to put out these great talents now. It's not just Mexican Americans, but it's Mexicans. So that's one thing I was thinking about after this fight.
I think they have talent. I think it's just now they have representatives in the UFC, and that makes it all the more. So as soon as they can host another event in Mexico, I think they'll be able to, you know, bring in a bigger wave. I think every time you host a big event in you know, near some, I think like even Brazil really made a big boom. That Brazil, the Brazil card made a big boom for fighters to come through and really try and make their stamp in the UFC. That's why a lot of Brazilian fighters are there in the UFC. They're always trying to get to the UFC. So I think as long as you could get a card somewhere, you know, the rate of MMA will grow there.
Well, Brazilians are always in the UFC before, because there was a point. Oh, I know what you mean. Like early days, they went to Brazil a lot. But I do remember the 13-year period where they didn't go to Brazil. Then 2011, they went back. And you're right. And I think that probably introduced a whole new wave of Brazilians in the UFC. And Brazilians are always going to be a force in MMA. So yeah, the UFC's been in Mexico before. I like them. They should go back. Hopefully next year they can go back, because they are going to Brazil in January. So hopefully next year they go back to Mexico. And they got a lot of talent. Can you imagine Mexico card with Moreno and Yair potentially, or Moreno, Aldana, and Grasso, and maybe some Mexican Americans on that card? I mean, that would be a great card. But hopefully, but either way, Mexico MMA is exploding. It's getting recognized. They're making the way in the UFC, and Irene Aldana is a big part of it. So congratulations to her.
Yep. With that being said, I want to move on to this next fight. You got to tell me what happened in this fight, because I didn't catch any of it. I only saw the highlight of the submission, but I want to talk about what happened afterwards, because this was funny. But I
know what you mean.
Light heavyweight.
Yes.
Sorry, it was so funny. I'm sorry. Light heavyweight division. Johnny Walker versus Ion Cutelaba. Johnny Walker wins it in the first round via rear naked choke. I didn't see that one coming from Johnny. I really didn't see this one coming from Johnny. But you got to tell me what happened in this fight.
Cutelaba took Johnny Walker down and was gained, like, if I remember correctly, took him down, and Walker was able to reverse position again and like get, and then like in the clinch where he was controlling not clinch, but he was able to control Cutelaba. I remember Cutelaba tried to get up, but Walker was able to take him down. And then like he just worked the rear naked choke, and at first he didn't have it, like he was like using his strength to get it, but Cutelaba was smartly like tucking the chin in, defending very good against the rear naked choke, but Walker just kept persisting, kept pushing it, kept trying to get leverage, and once he was able to get leverage, he was able to get the rear naked choke on Cutelaba. And then once he got it, like Cutelaba was like trying his best to get out, but he really couldn't, so he had to tap. And it was crazy.
So wait, he got it under the chin, or was it a neck crank?
At first, he was doing neck crank. Wait, I think it was a neck crank. If I remember, it might have been a neck. No, it was a neck crank originally, but Cutelaba was able to get out of it. But then I remember Walker was able to do it again, and I believe it was a neck crank. I believe he got him with a neck crank that made him tap. I could be wrong, but I believe it was a neck crank. Like second time he was able to submit Cutelaba. Could be wrong. Might be under the chin. I wish I remember. I'm thinking neck crank. I remember there was a neck crank in that sequence. I think he might finish.
I just know, especially because it's early in the first round. They're not perspiring, and Johnny early in the first round has a lot of power. So I know even if he doesn't get it under the chin all the way, he has enough power to crank someone's neck to make him tap either way.
Yes, he does. It is an impressive victory, because we didn't expect a submission victory for Walker. And he finally breaks the losing streak and gets a victory in a way you didn't expect. It was submission, so he didn't really get hit with big shots at all from Cutelaba. So his chin was never really tested in this fight. So it's a good victory performance for Walker.
And you're saying we could hopefully expect to see him one more time before the year is over?
Oh yeah, December. Why not? He didn't take any damage. Maybe if he wants to, if the light heavyweight's right for him in the rankings, why not? Why not have him fight again in December? Makes sense.
I mean, there's a new champ, and I think if Johnny stays busy enough, he can get right back into the swing of things. Especially with Smith being down for a while, that's one less fighter you have to worry about.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Walker. There's a pathway to the top for Walker. Just that Walker's got win fights and hopefully avoid taking big shots
while getting more active. I agree with you 100%. But then after Walker gets out of the octagon, he's probably doing his dance, his little salsa to the back. And then the UFC kicks him out. Ladies and gentlemen, the man doesn't even get out of his short shorts. Don't put no shoes on. Don't take the gloves off. They kicked him out.
Yeah, they kicked him out. I was surprised. Him and Coach Kavanaugh was with him. Like, why they kicking him out? Ain't he supposed to change? What should he be like? Is he gonna be asked questions by the media after his victory?
I gotta check the press conference again to see if he was even there, and I gotta ask how. Like, did they ask any questions about him being kicked out?
I don't know.
Dana?
I saw briefly. I didn't watch the whole thing, so I have no idea. But I would think they would ask, because that's like bizarre. The guy won. He doesn't have a chance to change, really. I mean, or even shower, and he kicked him out. I'm like, why? That's so bizarre when you think about it.
It was bizarre, crazy. But all in all, from what I saw of the main card, it was pretty entertaining. It was pretty okay. What would you grade the main card?
I give it a B. It was a B. But they said it could be an A, but that robbery, man, that robbery knocked it down.
The robbery, bro, it's a B minus. Every time there's a robbery, it takes the taste away and it knocks the grade down a bit. It's a B minus.
It takes the taste away, knocks it down.
Yep.
Yeah, that's terrible judging for Leach. Got robbed, but good, entertaining card. And the prelims, the main prelims has some entertaining fights.
Bro, the prelims overall were entertaining. I think the prelims are the only reason why this is a B card. The prelims were an A to me.
I got. Is there any fight you want to mention?
There is only one fight I want to mention. Only one. Jake Collier versus Chris Barnett. Them heavyweight boys was swinging and banging, and oh my God, Chris Barnett definitely lost that first round because Jake Collier was landing bombs on him. He was able to take him down, threaten some submissions here and there. He was able to, get him in a compromising submission in the ground and pound, but Chris was able to fight out of it and survive that round. And they both just looked at each other. It seemed like from the jump they agreed to just swing at each other, and that's what they did. And they were trying to just really hurt each other. And then the second round, Chris Barnett, man, he just churned it up another level. Was able to figure something out, man. Find something deep within. The crowd chanting Barnett, Barnett, as he just kept finding the range to land heavy shots on Jake Collier. Changed the complexion. Jake went for the takedown. Chris was able to stuff it, immediately get to the back. Jake threatened the leg lock. You see Chris Barnett. He's big, but he is athletic and flexible.
Yes,
he's doing a split while he's doing a ground and pound on Jake Collier, because Jake Collier is trying to get the leg lock, so he's just split and just wailing on Jake Collier's head. He just kept going and kept going until the ref had to say, "Come on, Jake, defend yourself," and Jake did not defend himself, and Chris Barnett was able to get the knockout. It was an amazing fight. I was highly entertained by this one. I almost forgot that both of these guys, well, I think only Chris didn't make weight.
Yeah, Chris didn't make weight.
So it couldn't be a fight of the night contender, but oh my gosh. If you could just, for one night, dispel that and give someone fight of the night, even if you're not going to give them the cash bonus, just give them fight of the night because they earned it. It was the heavyweights. They gave us what we paid to see, man. And his post-fight press conference with Joe Rogan in the octagon, he electrified the crowd like never before, man. Was able to get them fired up for the whole card. He did his job and some. And that's why the UFC is going to keep booking this guy. I love watching Chris Barnett, man. Super fun.
I agree. Super fun. He's like a super fun guy. I mean, guy was drinking like 2 beers at the same time. He was walking away from after the fight, like some fans gave him beer and just Yeah, walk it out. Yeah, I know you're from the South. I think from Atlanta. Could be wrong. I think from the South, but yeah, great performance. I mean, he got. I mean, he lost that first round. He came back to stuff the takedowns. They were first position, just beat up Jay Collier until the ref had stopped him. I mean, great performance. It's a Somerset flip, the smiling Buddha as you call him. And he is athletic. I mean, he showed in his first fight that wheel kick knockout, John Vellante, in November. And even here, big boy, but athletic and got decent cardio for a guy his size. Not bad cardio. Kind of crazy when you think about. I mean, Barnett's like he's a what's the term? Not a unicorn. He's kind of like a unicorn. Like unique. Not many guys like him.
Some type of mythical bear.
Yes. That's better. That's a better description than what I said. But yeah, not many guys like him. Gotta give him a shout out. Chris Barnett. That was a great performance by him.
Any fight that you want to mention on the prelims?
Gelton Almeida got a submission victory in the first round. The guy that people are high on in the heavyweight division, I believe. I think it's heavyweight, right?
He's flipping back and forth, man. Whenever they give him a matchup, it's either heavyweight or light heavyweight. He's trying to do both like DC.
Yeah, I mean, and he had a great performance. Submitted his opponent in the first round, 4 minutes and 27 seconds, with a naked choke. I mean, he's definitely living up to the hype that some fans are putting on him, and he's definitely showcased it here. I mean, if he keeps having performances like that, he's definitely gonna be a name to keep your eyes out for 2023. Gelton Almeida.
Dominant victory. Dominant. That's it for me, man. Those two were I'm not even gonna lie. Chris Barnett and Gelton Almeida. That was the standouts for me, man. Is there one more fight, or that's it for you?
That was it for me. It was those two.
All right. From that, we can move on from UFC 279 to what's coming up this week. UFC Fight Night. Sandhagen versus Song. The Sandman is back, ladies and gentlemen. Corey Sandhagen versus Song Yadong in the bantamweight division.
Whew, that's a great main event. What a great main event. And before I go on, I just want to mention, co-main was originally supposed to be Sadiq Youssef against Giga Chikadze, but Giga last week had to pull out. And the whole, it was last week, I think last Monday, when the whole Hamza and Paulo Costa thing everyone was talking about, Giga pulling out was also happened that same day, and no one really talked about it, especially what happened last week. You kind of forgot that,
that was probably the bit of news that you had wanted to speak about.
Yeah, Giga unfortunately won't be fighting against the Youssef, which is a shame because that was a great co-main event for an excellent main event. But let's talk about the main events. Sandhagen and Song Yadong in the bantamweight division. Both guys are top 10 fighters. Corey Sandhagen's on a 2-fight losing streak, but it was a close fight. You can make an argument he beat Dillashaw back in July. Then he had that close competitive fight with Pierre Yan in October. And Sandhagen's taking some time off after that Pierre Yan fight, which might be a good thing. Same time to relax, heal his body and stuff, and also work on some things. Because Sandhagen, talent-wise, he's a championship fighter. Yeah, he was active.
He was active, and he has championship talent. I agree with you. I'm sorry for cutting you off. I love Corey Sandhagen. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. But Sandhagen's really good, really talented. He's championship level talent. He's definitely got great skill set. I mean, he was active last year, fought 3 times. Because remember, he fought in February. He knocked out Frankie Edgar with that jumping knee in like 3 seconds in. And really fought 4 times in 12 months. Because October of 2020, he fought Marlon Moraes and knocked him out with a spinning wheel kick. And then fought February Frankie, July, and Dillashaw, and then October against Pierre Yan. So he took some time to recover. And Song Yadong is coming off that victory over Marlon Moraes by knockout back in March. And also he's on I believe like a 5-fight win streak. Although technically, because one of those fights was a victory over Chito Vera, which was controversial, which a lot of people, including myself, thought Chito Vera got screwed by the judges in that fight. But Song Yadong has proven that he is a talented fighter, talented fighter from China. He's only 24. That's crazy. I didn't realize he's only 24 years old. he's a young guy, really young. I mean, mid-20s, he's top 10 already. And not only that, he has a chance to beat the guy who's fought for the interim bantamweight title, Corey Sandhagen. I mean, this is a big chance, big test for him, big opportunity for Song Yadong, especially at 24. And now that being said, Song Yadong is one powerful puncher who definitely we see cases power, he can knock guys out. But I think Corey Sandhagen is a favorite and should win the fight. I think Corey's going to win. I think Corey is good at mixing things up with movements and angles and getting in and out. And I think it's going to be a problem for Song Yadong because Corey's not exactly a basic or stationary target. He tends to move in and out, move a lot, and with his shots, especially punches and elbows and knees and even kicks as well. So I think it's going to cause Song Yadong some problems. And I think Corey Sandhagen has a lot more tools to win versus Song Yadong. I think that's why Corey Sandhagen will win this fight, probably win a decision victory. And so, Corey to me has more ways to win than Song Yadong, especially since you gotta watch out for everything. Corey Sandhagen, he can hurt you punches, knees, kicks, probably even elbows too. So I mean, plus Corey Sandhagen, we've seen he can survive adversity. He fought I don't want to say not Ronaldo. It was back in 2018. I forget who he fought. It was a Brazilian. Where he got an arm bar. It looked like he was about to tap, or his arm bar be broken, and then like 2 minutes later he escapes that arm bar and just beats up. I forget who it is. It was a Brazilian fighter. It was a Justin Gaethje James Vick card. They showcased it UFC YouTube with their free fights, and I remember watching it and being impressed, thinking, "Damn, Corey Sandhagen survived that." I'm trying to remember. I forget the guy's name. But he was able to escape the arm bar and be able to do damage and finish that guy early in the second round, beat him up after being
what
clinched.
Year was this?
2018.
Alcantara.
Oh, Yuri Alcantara. It was James Vick and Justin Gaethje card. Yeah, I believe that's okay.
Yuri Alcantara. Yep.
Yeah. Sandhagen, so he's a tough guy. He can definitely survive adversity. Corey Sandhagen. We saw in that fight. I mean, he look. Most guys would tap there in that position with the armbar that he was in. Corey Sandhagen, but he survived. He was able to do damage to Alcantara. Was finished in the early second round. And Song Yadong, like I said, the Shield Vera fight was a competitive fight. It was back and forth. But I mean, even though I thought he lost the fight. But Song Yadong can go through adversity. But I don't think he's been the adversity that Corey Sandhagen has, and he hasn't exactly fought the talent level as Corey Sandhagen has. And also, I just realized Song Yadong's on a 3-fight winning streak, not 5 fights. He lost to Kyra Phillips after the Shield Vera victory, but he's won 3 in a row. It's looked really good, and I think, like I said, Corey Sandhagen's had better competition. He's had more ways to win. He's not stationary. Doesn't move in and out. I think that's why Corey Sandhagen's going to win.
I'm like I said, I'm such a big fan. I want Sandhagen to win. But if I am, a guy that, if I am in Song Yadong's corner and I'm watching to see, just to play devil's advocate, and I'm watching to see what would be the best way for Song Yadong to win this fight, I'm not going to lie. What Sandhagen is susceptible to a lot of the times is leg kicks. He doesn't check them a lot. He's a lengthy fighter and he likes to move around. He's not going to be checking the leg kicks. And when you make him check a leg kick, that means he's stationary. So that means Yadong can tee off of a leg kick. So I'm looking out for that. If I, as a Sandhagen fan, I'm looking to see if Yadong is looking to do that. Also, Song Yadong is very good at being aggressive grappling. Sandhagen is good defensively, but Song Yadong is very, very good aggressively grappling. So I want to see as to, how he's going to be able to test that and get into the range with Sandhagen. Because the one thing, I know, it's one thing to say he's good at grappling, but Sandhagen is a master of space. He is a master of range. And it's one thing to be good at grappling. It's another thing to even get there to initiate it. So, because TJ Dillashaw couldn't do it. He couldn't effectively grapple Sandhagen. Sandhagen was able to get out of those compromising positions and ultimately make majority of the fight a stand-up fight. So if Song Yadong can't get into range for that, then I think it's good night Irene, and Sandhagen is winning this fight. But if I'm a Song Yadong fan, I'm looking for him to initiate with leg kicks, slow down Sandhagen, make it a muddy fight by getting into some grappling, and then from there, I'm looking to tee off with the power.
Good point. Yeah, that's definitely some excellent points. Especially the leg kicks. You're absolutely right. He has sensible leg kicks, especially being tall and lanky, and doesn't check them. That's a great way to neutralize some of the movement that Sandhagen does. Great point there. And also, everything else you said about the grapple of being being aggressive and all that. Yeah, great points. This is an exciting fight. Great main event. Especially for a deep bantamweight division. Like I said, I'll get these next couple months were bantamweight months, like big bantamweight fights. And this is the other big bantamweight fight. We've already had the two big ones with Chio Vera and Cruz, Chio winning, and then of course Marab and Jose Aldo and Marab winning. This is also a big bantamweight fight because winning this fight it's going to be top 5. I mean, either Sandhagen stays or Jose Aldo probably gets in the top 5.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you 100%. With that being said, you want to get into this next fight, the co-main event, because even though we don't get the originally scheduled co-main event, I like this one. What they supplemented with, I like this one.
Co-main event is Chidi Chukwani against Gregory Rodriguez in the middleweight division. Wait, no, it's a middleweight division. Yeah, middleweight division. Chidi's coming on a 4-fight win streak. He's got all 4 by KO and TKO. So the guy's a finisher. I mean, his last fight was back in May. His knockout victory, Dusko Jovanovic via elbows.
Yep.
So we know he's. But I'll say he's a power puncher. The guy finishes fights usually by finish, TKO, KO. So he's got power in his hands, and also he can finish you elbow. So he's gonna win. He's probably gonna knock you out potentially.
Oh yeah. And we know Gregory Rodriguez. He just recently had a victory over Julian Marquez. But prior to that, he lost to Armin Petrosian. That's a top dog. Armin Petrosian is a tough night out for anyone.
Yes.
And prior to Armin Petrosian, this guy was on a 4-fight win streak. So he's a good fighter, man. I enjoy watching Gregory Rodriguez. He is a striker to the core. He can grapple. He really can grapple. And he's trying to tell everyone that he can grapple. But so far, the last couple of fights we've seen him in, this guy wants to strike, wants to stand and bang with everyone. And he's showing that as far as striking, he's very disciplined, very technical. I enjoy watching him striking. I enjoy watching him work. So a fight between these two is going to be interesting. Two strikers where Gregory could potentially, if he gets into trouble, we could potentially see some of that grappling that he's been boasting about. I can't wait to see this one.
Right. Yeah. Good point. You mentioned that he's been trying to show. He's mentioning he's a grappler. He's got grappling. He's got 4 submission victories, so he can use He has used grappling. He needs to. So he might do in this fight. He might potentially hurt Chidi and probably go for a submission. I mean, he's won 5 of his last 6. Rodriguez and Chidi's won 4 in a row. So these are guys who are just near the rankings of middleweight. Like if any of them have a big impressive victory, they might be ranked potentially. Or maybe the next fight is against a ranked middleweight when you really think about it. They're both right there, and they're both, I think, 30 years old. I know Rodriguez is 30 years old. I think Chidi is also 30.
Give me one moment. Let me look that up. 33.
33. Okay, so Jaquani's a little bit older. Okay. Well, yeah, these are guys
in the prime of his life. Yeah.
Yeah, both guys in their prime, so this could be a good co-main event. I mean, what surprised me is a finish.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm leaning towards Jaquani, but Gregory could win the fight. I won't be shocked either. I'm leaning towards Jaquani.
I'm leaning towards Gregory. I think Gregory has more, more all-around tools, and he can get the job done.
You're right. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Yes, that's a good point. But you might be right. But we'll find out Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And we can transition to the dirt fight in the card. Now, the dirt fight is Andre Fili against Bill Aljo. Now, Bill Aljo is stepping in for Lando Venata. Lando Venata was supposed to fight Andre Fili, but Venata got hurt, and Bill Aljo stepping in on somewhat short notice. I know Bill Aljo apparently won the fight before November, before his child was born. his child's being born in November, so he wanted at least one more fight before the birth of his child. So he's getting in here, taking short notice against Andre Fili. And Andre Fili is a very entertaining fighter, very good fighter. Normally, from my recollections, I think guys with power tend to really be his downfall. Guys with who have power in their hands tend to give Andre Fili the most problems. If my memory serves me right, with Andre Fili. I know he's fought a bunch of good fighters. I know he's lost a lot. You know, look at the guys he's fought. He's fought like a who's who of the featherweight division. I know Bill Aljo's fought some really good fighters. I know he's lost. I think he lost. I know he lost to Shane Burgos, Bill Aljo. So both guys have their fair share of good fighters they fought before him. Mm-hmm. And it should be a fun, entertaining scrap. I think.
Both guys need a win. Both guys are coming off of losses recently, so I think they need a win. Wait, I know Algio. No, Algio. He's not more so. He came off a win against Herbert Burns.
That's right. He did. That's right. That was the fight where Herbert just had a weird bad second round.
So I mean, essentially, he didn't take too much damage, so he can get right back in there and get a real victory that he feels that the opponent didn't hurt himself or anything. So yeah, it's a good, interesting fight.
Right, and I mean, this could be a competitive fight. I mean, I think Fili will win just because he's been trained longer, but at the same time, I'm going surprised that Bill Aljo wins, considering Bill Aljo. No, actually, I know Bill Aljo beat Jerison Brito, and Jerison Brito just beat Andre Fili. So I mean, I know MMA math doesn't work sometimes, but at the same time, I mean, that could be an argument for Bill Aljo, but I'm going Andre Fili just because of the short notice aspect.
I'm agreeing with you there. I think Fili, because he's just been he's been preparing. He's prepared.
Yeah, good point. Should be a fun scrap in the featherweight division.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Just move on from that fight to the next fight on the main card to the middleweight division. Alan Amadovsky versus Joseph Pfeiffer. Joseph Pfeiffer is an introduction to both of us because the last couple of fights he's had is on the Contender Series, so it will be an introduction to all of us. And Alan Amadovsky, the last time we saw him was against Joseph Ugly Man Holmes. That was a loss in, I believe, in the first round via rear naked choke. So, Alan, both of these guys have something to prove, but I think Alan more so than Joseph because he's already had a premier fight in the UFC and he lost that against Joseph Holmes. So it's going to be an interesting fight. Both of these guys have a reason to be hungry. Both of these guys have a reason to go out there and get the finish. So I'm interested in seeing that.
Bro, okay, yeah, good points there. Like I said, it's an introduction for me for both guys, especially Joe Pfeiffer. I'm not too familiar with both of them really, so it's just an introduction fight for me. I'm pretty sure for a lot of you. Hopefully, one of these guys can have a stand-up performance and make a name for themselves, especially being on a main card of UFC Fight Night.
So with that, we can move on from that fight to the next fight on the main card. It's in the heavyweight division. Tanner Boser versus Rodrigo Nascimento. Tanner Boser, I've seen him fight a couple of times.
Yeah, I have too. I know he's coming up. I think he's on a win streak, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just trying to remember his last fight. I know I've seen him fought several times. Tanner Boser.
Nascimento. I was trying to remember where he fought Alan Boudou. I remember that was a no contest. And prior to that, he lost to Chris Dawkins. He was the guy that got KO'd by Dawkins in the first round.
Right. And oh yeah, that's right. That's why I remember. You just said his name.
And Boser, he just won against OSP recently.
Rodrigo, yes, he just won. I don't know why I said win streak. That was my bad. He was coming up 2-fight losing streak against Orlovsky and Latifi. Then he just beat OSP. That's right, he beat OSP when OSP went to heavyweights. But that was back in June of last year, so Tanner Boser hasn't fought in a while. So I'm surprised I remember his name, despite him not fighting recently. I know he's the favorite going against Rodrigo Nascimento, surprisingly, considering the layoff. But Tanner Boser can either finish you or go by decision, typically. I know Rodrigo has... Actually...
Hollow to Don. I'm not excited.
You're not excited for this?
I'm not excited for this. I mean, both guys do have something to prove, but at the same time, it's like... neither of these guys have really finished anyone in the last couple of times that I've seen them. And their styles don't predicate to be finishers, so...
Right, that's good points. Plus, I just realized both guys haven't fallen a while, so it's kind of weird to see who's gonna look sluggish. Where we both of them are one though. Whoever's less sluggish will win the fight. That's just like I gotta say.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's a fight on the preliminaries that I see could easily replace this, but we'll talk about that when it gets there. I'm not excited. I really don't have too much to dig into on this fight.
Okay, yeah, we can move. Yeah, we can move on. Is there any play fights you're interested in?
I don't know if this fight got canceled. There's one more fight on my sheet that I have in the main card. I have Mark Andrew Barot in the main card versus Anthony Hernandez.
I'm on UFC's website and it says I think it says prelims. It's the main event of the prelim.
Oh, that's the main event of the prelims. Okay. But yeah, I'm interested. I'm excited to see Mark Andrew Barot. I know he's very exciting. That's someone I want to see fight. But really, the name that pops out to me is Pat Sabatini.
That's right. Sabatini's on this card. That's a good point.
Oh, he's fighting Damon Jackson. That's a name too. This fight could have easily replaced that heavyweight fight. Yeah,
you're right. No, you're right. Pat Sabatini is a rising contender in the freaking featherweight division, and yeah, Damon Jackson is a name himself. So it's gonna be a good fight. Both guys who are similar positions right now. I mean, you're right. Could replace that heavyweight fight. I mean, yeah, I think this fight should be ahead of the heavyweight fight. I think you're absolutely right. Another fight I think that should be ahead of the heavyweight fight that actually is somewhat important is the women's fight between Aspen Ladd and Sarah McMahon. These are two top 10 girls in the women's bantamweight division. I know neither girls are close to a title fight, even if they win. But two top 10 girls in the women's bantamweight division. The winner stays in the top 10 or probably moves up a little bit. The loser probably falls down, probably like a number 10 or 11, somewhere around there. So it's a big fight for both ladies. Aspen Ladd's a lot younger. I mean, gotta get surprised that Sarah McMahon's still competing, considering it was like 8 years ago when she fought Ronda Rousey for the women's bantamweight title back in 2014, and I think she's been fighting a lot longer than that too. I think she was in Strikeforce back in the day as well. So she's been around for a little bit. She's not exactly a spring chicken. So the fact is, this is a chance for Aspen Ladd to get a big victory against a woman for a title challenger and Sarah McMahon. But also Sarah McMahon can go out there and hopefully her case be a younger woman and stay in the top 10 potentially. But I don't know. I mean, if Aspen Ladd could look like what she was before that, was the Rami loss? No, I'm trying to remember which loss it was. That the one where her coach was basically yelling at her.
Bro, I'm not even gonna lie. You said that fight could potentially have been on the main card. Right. I think Aspen Ladd deserves the demotion.
She has not fought the best.
I don't remember. Yeah, she has not fought the best, and not only that, when her coach was telling her to get aggressive, and which fight was it? It wasn't Raquel Pennington. Was it Norma Dumont?
It was Norma Dumont.
Norma Dumont. She was fighting Norma Dumont, and her coach was telling her to get aggressive, and she was not. Like, she just refused to be aggressive. I'm not even nah. She's a prelim fighter right now until she proves otherwise.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? You're right. I forgot about the whole her and her coach getting at her, which rightfully so. I mean, and also she did lose to Raquel Pennington. That was, if I remember, recently back in April, and that wasn't exactly a competitive fight. If I remember, I think Raquel kind of won that fight convincingly. You know what? You're right. Pat Sabatini fight Damon Jackson should replace that weight to the main card. No, you're right. Totally agree with you, Dave, of Aspen Ladd. If she can bounce back, then maybe a different story, but we'll find out Saturday.
Yep.
Anything else you want to mention with the prelims?
We already mentioned those other fights. Person I want to see bounce back because they just recently had some losses. Hopefully she could bounce back. Jillian Robertson. She's shown that she is a very, very, very good grappler. But excelling in one thing only gets you but so far in the UFC. She just recently had a loss against JJ Aldridge, where Aldridge, she out-grappled. It was surprisingly, Aldridge out-grappled her, plus she outstruck her. But really, it was the striking game that really led to Aldridge potentially out-grappling Robertson. And Robertson, she has to show, that she's progressing in the game as far as with the striking. If she can show that she's a better, evolving in the striking game, then there's hope for her to be a contender in the division. But this is one of those fights where if she just goes back to the grappling, then that's it.
Okay, yeah, for me, I think you mentioned all the prelim fights I was going to mention. We already talked about the fights that I was going to talk about. Is there anything else before we wrap up the talk for the Sandhagen Yadong card?
Nah, I'm excited. Can't wait for this. Also, if anyone's interested, Canelo versus Triple G3 is also happening. So there's that.
Oh yeah, Trilogy fight. Yeah, I mean, I wish it would happen a couple of years ago. We all wish that, but it's happening now. It's a big boxing fight. Who knows if he goes the first two? But yeah, that's a good big deal right there. Triple G and Canelo 3.
But yeah, other than that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining us, whether that be on the podcast platforms on Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, or you're joining us on streaming podcast on the streaming platforms, Twitch, Rumble, or YouTube. Dakota Kai, thank you so much. You're Kingslayer. Yes, you are the other name, Kingslayer. Thank you so much for joining us, Kingslayer. But yeah.
Wait, I got some other things. I mentioned Sean Strickland earlier. Sean Strickland and Jared Cannonier are supposed to fight October 15th, but Strickland got injured at pullout. That fight is rescheduled for December 17th. It'll be the main event of December 17th card, which I think might be the last UFC card of the year, if I think about it. Because the week after will be Christmas Eve and then New Year's Eve. So they
take a break. Yep.
Yeah, the UFC used to do the New Year's shows, but they haven't done them in a while. But yeah, it might be the last UFC card of the year. So Strickland and Cannonier moving to December. So it's good we're getting that fight because the two top 10 middleweights who are trying to bounce back from losses. Cannonier didn't take no damage, and it's good for Sean Strickland. Get some more time to recover, considering he got knocked out badly by Alex Pereira in July. Hopefully his injuries healed up and he can fight his best, because I think Strickland can have a dominant performance, a great performance against Jared Cannonier. He might get a title fight against Israel. If Israel should beat Alex Pereira, that's a big if, considering what Alex Pereira is all about. So I do want to bring up that news because that is kind of a big deal. The fact the fight got rescheduled. And I don't think there's any other MMA news that I can think of. I think all of it's been covered.
Yeah, that's really it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us on all the platforms. Can't wait. Song Yadong versus Corey Sandhagen. I'm excited for this. Bantamweight division is on the line with that one. Please, guys, support the program. We have our Cash App right there on the video. You could donate to BX Sports Jedi program. You could donate to myself as well, Chef Dan. We have the information right there. Thank you guys so much. Please support the program. It goes back into the program when we can do bigger and better things. But I'm Chef Dan.
Right, and I'm Austin, and thank you guys for listening and support us. We'll be back next week to break down this card, and can't wait. Great main event, especially with Song Yadong and Corey Sandhagen. Bantamweight division might be the best in all of MMA, not just UFC, but all MMA. Great main event, and can't wait to next week break it down for you guys. I'm Austin, like my co said, Chef Dan. Oh wait, over here, yeah. Oh, Over here. Sorry, the camera.
Right here. Yep.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are